Now let's look at shortcuts for calling multiple variables in Stata. For this, we'll make use of the census data set present inside Stata. So let's first load that. And now we can use the describe command with the simple option to just get the names of all the variables in the data set. So now the first step is going to be that we use wildcards, which are represented by an asterisk. Now what this means is that if I write val asterisk, so this means that I'm referring to all the variables in my data set that are starting with var. If we write underscore var, this means we're referring to all the variables in our data set that are ending with var. Say my goal is that I want to summarize pop LT5, pop5 underscore 17, pop 18p, pop 65p, and pop. Now, one option is that I write summarize and write the names of all the variables. But an easier way is to use wildcards because they all start with a common part, which is pop, and then they have a different part which I can represent with a wildcard or asterisk. So here, if I do summarize pop asterisk, so this means that I'm asking Stata to summarize all the variables that start with pop, and after that, the asterisk represents that they can have any different part. So in this case, this would end up summarizing which variables it would end up summarizing pop LT5, pop5 underscore 17, pop 18p, pop 65p, pop urban without me having to write them all down. So let's just do this. We can see it has summarized all those variables. In this case, we start with pop. Okay, this is the common part which we have. This is the common part which we have written, and the asterisk represents the part which can be different between all the variables. So the second tip is that we can use dash to refer to a range of variables. So say if I do var1 to var6, this means I'm referring to all the variables in my data set, which are in this particular order, going from var1 to var6, inclusive of var1 and var6. However, this tip only works when you have a long list of variables in the proper order, because it's going to refer to variables based on the order in the data set. Now you can check the order of the variables from the variables window. Like we can see in this particular data set, this is the order of our variables. So say I want to do state to pop. Let's see which variables would it refer to. So if I want to go from, if I do state dash pop, so this means I'm referring to state, I'm referring to state 2, I'm referring to region, I'm referring to pop. If I do death to divorce, this means I'm referring to death, marriage, and divorce. So the order, so basically when you use tip 2, when you use the dash to refer to range of variables, the variables that will be referred to will be based upon the order in the data set, and you can see that through a variable. Now going back to a previous example, we wanted to, so if we do some, we could also done this instead of using the wildcard, we could have done summarize pop to pop urban. Why would this work? Because see, all are in the proper order. We could do, if I do pop dash pop urban, so this means I'm referring to pop LT5, pop 5 underscore 17, pop 18p, pop 65p, pop urban. So in this case, it also works. So for tip 2 to work, you need to make sure they're in the proper order, which you can see from the variable. You can always change the order of your variables in the dataset using the order command as well. More on that later. Now let's talk about tip 3. Tip 3 is that what if you want to call all variables in a dataset? So for that, you can use underscore all or just the static as is. Tip 4 is that you can save retyping variable names by clicking on them in the variables window. Now, why does this work? Because what will happen is when I click on a variable name in the variable window, it will appear in the command window. From there, you can copy it and paste it in a do file as well. This will save you from typing. For example, say I wanted to refer to pop 65p, I wanted to refer to state 2, and I wanted to refer to median age. So when I click on them, you can see that they all appear in the commands window, right? Like for example, if I click on, let's click on pop urban, so they all appear in the commands window, right? And then from here, you can just copy them or, cut them using CTI plus X, and then you can just paste them in our data set wherever, in our do file wherever we want them, like this. So yeah, so this saves retyping as well. So this is how we can call multiple variables in Stata.